I get asked via email for aspiring authors, usually white men who are messaging me about once a week about like, what should I do to get published? Are there any agents who will take my work? And I always tell them, no. Do it yourself. They don't want you. They hate you. They are racist and sexist against you. And you have no way forward except for to do it yourself. You just got to do the work yourself. A lot of people just don't want to hear this. And hey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the publishing industry is completely paused. It's run by New York liberals, and those people are waging war against white men. And it's been shown in a video that went viral by author John A. Douglas, who's great. He runs a YouTube channel too. And I wrote it up on my Phantom Pulse Substack this morning, which you could subscribe to in the description below if you want to read the full article. And we're going to go over just how crazy the publishing industry is and just like what they've done to just turn off readership and authors from doing work in just a moment. I'm following up on actually my post from about a month ago, which was even a New York Times writer knows a fantasy traditional publishing is impossible for a white male author. Which you can also go read if you'd like. And I am an author myself, and I did it myself. And that's what I did. I found I was blacklisted very early on, guys. And if you like the truth about what's going on in publishing, if you like science fiction and fantasy, this is a great channel for you to follow. I talk about all things in science fiction and fantasy because it's my wheelhouse. And whether it's in gaming, books, anywhere in the culture, really. This is my trilogy, The Orishan War, and I published it myself and have done quite well for myself with this and actually a lot of my other books. And this is a wonderful spy thriller in space. This is something you'll enjoy if you like Star Trek, Babylon 5, Star Wars. Those are great things for you. On the literary end, if you enjoy Old Man's War from Mr. Scalzi himself, or if you like the Vorkosigan saga, those sorts of things, this is something you'll really love. So check it out. It's in the description below. It's available on ebook, print, and audio, all three books, and I definitely recommend reading all three. I am writing a sequel kind of trilogy that's going to spin out of this. I shouldn't say it's a direct sequel because I want to do some space exploration stuff because I think Star Trek's really, just pooped the bed over the last 10 years, and I can do it better. And so I'm in the dead middle of that trilogy right now, writing it. We're going to be blasting those out early next year for you to read, so this would be a great way to get caught up. Give them as Christmas presents to your friends. Really appreciate everybody who reads. You guys are the ones who keep us going, and it's really wonderful to have you around. A lot of people in the publishing industry don't want you as readers. I do, and that's why I write a little something for everybody. So John Douglas posted this video, and I posted a similar video when I went to Barnes & Noble. It's on my shorts page, where I was showing like every single book that was on the shelves in the fantasy section in Barnes & Noble was like a black, queer, whatever. It was very bizarre. And John Douglas here went to Target, and every fantasy section book is really just like a romance novel in a fantasy setting written by some weird female who just wants to LARP her, like, so I fell in love with a werewolf kind of thing, right? And then they call it fantasy. And it really is not indicative of the fantasy genre or what made fantasy genre great. So he talked about this in the context of how they turn off male readers and they don't want to have men read, and then they wonder why men don't read anymore. And that's the case. But, of course, men aren't reading traditional publishing. They are reading science fiction and fantasy from independent authors, because there's a lot of great independent authors who do what I do and just put out great books. Some people to follow. John A. Douglas is one of them. David V. Stewart's another great one. Brian Niemeyer is another. I'm just rattling off some names real quick. You can look out. And, of course, I hope you'll check out my books as well. But as that went viral, it actually, this video just got a ton of engagement because everybody was like, wow. And a lot of people commented on it, including author Isaac Young, who's another great person to potentially follow. And he posted a message from Joyce Carol Oates, she's a literary fiction person. And she said, a friend who's a literary agent told me he cannot even get editors to read his first novels by young white male writers. So editors at these companies will not even take a look at your book if they sniff out that you're white and male. It is that crazy. No matter how good, they're not interested. This is heartbreaking for writers who may, in fact, be brilliant and critical of their own, quote, privilege. Yes, it's always quote privilege. And this is what the industry's been lying about for years. This is what SIFWA's marketing reports trying to be like, we need more strong female leads. They've been pushing that for a couple of decades. Well, most of the publishing industry was already female to begin with. And the only spot that had like men in it really was science fiction and fantasy. And they had to invade that space too and try to squeeze everybody out. And they did in traditional publishing. I have been in traditional publishing before, and I've talked with people in there, and I've spoken with an agent as well who said and this was back in 2018, I met with an agent for coffee. Of course, the first thing I was like, I was selling a bunch of books, and I'm like, do you think you can make me more money than I'm actually making now? And he actually told me point blank, no, I don't think there's anything I could do for you. Because I told him how much I was making, and he said that traditional publishing is not going to pay me that much, right off the bat. And I'm doing way better now than I was then, so it's kind of crazy. But he also told me that like for YA publishing specifically, because I was doing well with my for Steam and Country series, which is YA fantasy publishing, that unless it had the BIPOC, the Black, Indigenous, person of color, or LGBTQ themes, traditional publishers were not even looking at those at the time. And this is not a political author right here. She's not somebody who's like railing against the mainstream. I do it, of course, because I was blacklisted. But this is just more evidence that it's pretty bad out there. So Isaac Young made a great thread, and definitely check out his books as well. This is his book on Amazon right here. And he said this about things. He said, people underestimate how bad this trend is. The mainstream industry has completely locked out young men, meaning any upcoming talent is denied access to the funding and marketing to take the talents to the next level. You've lost a generation of male authors. Not really. Honestly, you have in traditional publishing, but the thing is, like, I know people who sell hundreds of thousands and millions of books on Amazon directly. And so this is the white pill for you guys if you're authors or if you're looking for authors to read. Just go to Amazon, just hunt around different Facebook groups, ask for, who good military science fiction authors are, or just science fiction authors, and you'll find a lot of these independent people, and hopefully, like I said, you'll join us here too. Now, I'm usually the first to decry TradPub and the last to criticize indie, but there's no denying the old power of institutional backing. At the end of the day, culture is mass production. TradPub controls many of the levers that make that possible. He's right on this. Indie offers great freedom, comes with sizable benefits, but you do everything on your own. You have to fund everything on your own. Since the market is so saturated, you're going to struggle standing out. Very difficult, absolutely. But here's the thing about traditional publishing, too. I don't know if Isaac was ever involved in it here. It's the same thing. I had a book come out through traditional publishing in 2016, and it came out, they scheduled it the week before the election. And naturally, like what happened because Trump won was like the entire publishing outfit like just went kaput for the next 2 weeks. So my release, my release date, nothing. It was just dead, and it opened up with selling I think 800 copies through traditional publishing. They had a marketing team, a publicist, all the things, right? And so I had no following at the time in 2016, and so I was stoked actually to have 800 sales, believe it or not. But what happened at the time was that, and that's the case with most independent authors. I know independent authors who got a $500 check advanced from Tor Books, who sold less than 1,000 copies after years, and just got their entire series just canceled. And the thing is, like when they get that, like Tor goes, they don't sell, and they put them in a little checkbook, and then they don't buy their books again as well. So. And that's 90+% of authors, even in traditional publishing. They don't really lift a finger. They only put marketing towards ones that they know are going to sell, the Brandon Sandersons of the world, the Larry Corrias of the world, because they know that they're going to get maximum for their dollars because people have heard of them. So it's easier to market something that people have already heard of. It's really a catch-22. So even in traditional publishing, it is the same. You have to do your own marketing. And you just give an agent a cut and a publisher a cut. It's just a terrible scam. Authors have to work years without any reward. This is true anyway. Some people burn out. Some people leave. Some people just don't want to be their own businessman. Look at Cormac McCarthy. Did you ever get him without institutional backing, or would his books be utterly lost in today's market? And for every Cormac McCarthy that even went through the institutional backing, a lot of them failed and don't exist too, who did have institutional backing. So I don't think he's totally correct here. But it would be nice to have some patrons support to be able to push that marketing on a different level. You barricade access, you deny mobility and influence, you board up the institutions, and you can only lose people. You lose genius that might not be appreciated in its own time, and the longer this goes on, the longer you lose. The closing of trad pubs' doors means the death of mainstream entertainment, for better and worse. This is going to happen anyway. There's nothing to be done about it, by the way. Everything's bifurcating. That whole like monoculture where, the distribution outlets were limited and all that, it's gone. So that you're going to see that not just because of the way traditional publishing operated, but just because of the fact that the internet does exist. It deserves to die in its current state, but part of the fallout is there's going to be a dearth of male entertainment until parallel institutions are constructed, and that has effects that bleed into every corner of our culture. It affects our movies, television, and he's right about this here. This is a big point here. It affects inspiring new creatives. It affects everything. The implosion of the mainstream means we're going to lose artists who would have been luminaries otherwise. Now, I'm not sure that the mainstream publishing matters that much, to be honest. But he is right that the inspiration factor is a thing. The other forms of entertainment, because Hollywood doesn't really buy indies so much as they buy traditional published stuff because it's like their pipeline. That's absolutely true. But on the other front, like you kind of do just have to do it yourself. And these people are racist against you. They are sexist against you as white men. They don't want you to succeed as it is. And so it is a stacked deck against you 100%. And a lot of people do burn out on that level. But it is a grind. It's a lot of work. I'm grinding things here, obviously, on YouTube to build a following. And that's really the only way forward at this juncture. So we can say that there's a problem with culture going forward, or we can just do it ourselves. Isaac's chosen to do it himself, too. He's a great guy. And look, there's opportunity as well, my friends. So let's build something. I don't know if you're a multimillionaire watching this and want to fund a building of something, contact me, of course. But in the meantime, we're going to do it the grassroots way. We're going to do it the groundswell way. And we're going to do it just by cultivating readers, which is what's important anyway. That's what these people in traditional publishing don't have anyway. They don't have the readers behind them. I was talking about Mary Robinette Kowal, who was like the head of SIFWA. She was propped up by the mainstream. She's won all the awards, right? She doesn't have a following, guys. My Fandom Pulse Substack here gets 10 times the readership monthly that she does. Oh, wait, I'm wrong on that. 20 times. 20 times the readership monthly. And that's wild. It shouldn't be the case that some random guy on the internet is doing that. And when the traditional establishment has pushed her so hard, they don't have natural readers. They just have their clout structures in the industry, and it can be a white pill here. So as much as these people are going to do what they do, it's awful. We're going to call it out. The destruction that they're wreaking, they are destroying their entertainment industry by doing this, for sure. And there is a way forward, and it is a lot of hard work, and it's going to be all independent going forward. And so just avoid even trying. It's not something to aspire towards. You're never going to get there. Just back out of traditional publishing, my friends. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to grab my books on Amazon. This is how you can support us. You can also grab a Substack membership. And really appreciate you guys for being there. And we'll be back soon.